which was pretty much established as an entity in the 90s. And Whangaroa were a major part of that establishment of that entity, particularly Mala Nepiha, and it tied up the Te Rarawa side from Glass Murray, among others, Nuki. And Nuki was the scribe. He was the scribe for the taumata when they chose to uplift He Wakaputanga and become the kaitiaki of He Wakaputanga me Te Tiriti, as because the treaty wasn't a cessation of sovereignty. It was a relationship where the crown was supposed to crown over their own subjects, and the Meninga were the authority over our people. But it became watered down. But there was an attempt to establish some form of self-determination when they formed the Kotahitanga Parliament at Waitangi, and that survived up until the turn of the century, pretty much, and when the 4 Māori seats were formed, and what was his name? Honeheke Ngāpua was the northern rep, the Ngāpui rep, in there, and he fought hard for our self-determination, but the southern tribes were more keen to allow the British Crown to rule over us. They were happy.
Interesting.
For that relationship. Sir James Carroll, I think, was one, and I forgot the name of the other one from Ngāti Pro. They were pretty tight. I do remember Kotahitanga wanted to send a delegation over to England for them to honour our sovereignty, and they imposed a tax to raise the funds to make that happen, but it wasn't popular.
So they couldn't make it?
Yeah, they couldn't make it. They couldn't raise that. Because they didn't get the support, because you had the southern members of parliament were encouraging all the tribes, don't forget about that, come into the the general parliament. But that was just a really interesting bit of history that been hidden in plain sight, really, for such a long time.
I've never heard of that kōrero before. That's interesting.
Sitting alongside the elders was that that had some really heated debates, but there was no voting. It was just the opinions made the outcomes became quite clear on what was the consensus by what was said, not so much hands up or down.
The Waitangi.
The Waitangi made it clear what was the preferred option. It was just amazing to witness, and what appeared to be impossible, because at times the arguments were so heated. But at the end of the day, there was still a consensus would come out, and they wouldn't settle until they reached a consensus.
They could feel that, and they knew.
They just let everybody let off steam and
it's healthy.
Home.
Ka pai. Taking it back to the Waitangi Tribunal, what have they said around Te Tiriti and He Wakaputanga in terms of their relevance for Māori, and I guess in terms of whangaro, what does it mean for the redress process?
Well, for me personally, the redress is secondary to our sovereignty. For me, that what I've learnt over the years following He Wakaputanga, but it was only into latter years that I realised in the findings of the tribunal stage 1, emphasising that yes, we didn't cede our sovereignty, and that it was maintained in Te Tiriti as the instrument of relationship with the Crown. But I see the settlement process as more of like a begging bowl type situation. But our people have been hammered into dependency since they landed here, and they've forced us. I guess that's colonial. That's the whole colonial process of controlling native people throughout the world is to drive them into dependency, becoming beneficiaries rather than owners, so to speak.
independent.
Independent and that. And because our tūpuna were fiercely independent and they were entrepreneurs very quickly, you know. And
innovators, creative. And,
very creative. And
it's to recognise who we are in our own governance under tikanga Māori and our own law, L-O-R-E. It saddens me that our people have to redress, because what does that really mean? You know, what does that redress word really mean?
I guess it's a question we also have to ask ourselves, eh?
Yeah, because I think that's a one thing I think that's quite clear with the Crown, or the Crown as such, but they're not the true Crown. They created a political Crown in 1986, where they removed themselves from the umbrella of the British Crown and created the Crown and Right, which is a what do you call it? A de facto crown. A de facto crown. And we didn't enter into any arrangements with the de facto crown.
No,
it was with the British Crown
That's right.
our treaty was entered into with, and that's the part that I'm quite wary of, is the condition of the government's intent is they expect us to recognise them as the Crown authority. Is their condition of redress. So it's not really. It's a total succession of sovereignty is what they want in recognition of their sovereign authority over our lands. That's not what this is about.
no.
That this was the declaration to the world that we exist as a sovereign nation in our own right. But it's just that our people have been slow because of the colonial conditioning of dependency has made our people very weak. I'm hopeful that we have a generation of well-educated young generation that to me have the ability to articulate infrastructure to help to set up governance for our own. But it needs to happen. You can't have self-determination without an infrastructure that has a record of action and agreement. Till you have that, it's only like kōrero. And that's been my learning curve, I guess, over the 30-odd years that I've been following He Wakaputanga, is that too much wind and not enough actual action. And we're actually hosting a hui here on the 28th and 29th. And it's called out to Te Wakaminenga Hapū to cut the factionalism and start focusing and stop playing victimhood and start finding a way forward and finding some brains to help infrastructure.
Yeah, a lot of our people are doing that, you know. They're already, they're still doing it in other ways, you know. They're quite active in educating. They're quite active in being educated. A lot of them have tohu. But, you know, even our tūpuna, you know, way back then, our rangatira thought it was a good idea that our people go ahead and get educated under the system. But what happened is they came out and became educated for the government and receiving government wages. So it really backfired on our people in a big way. You know, there are some out there like yourself taking these interviews and doing that for the benefit of our people. You know, I mean, you're part of the hapū. There's so many hapūs waiting for the ones that my brother is speaking about to come on board and just move forward, you know, with who we already are today. You know, we can't deny our people of that. It's not our faults we're in this situation. You know, we never went to any other country and depleted their resources. You know, we went over there with respect. The heads of every tribe now are speaking for their hapū. So now that it's all like hapū decision making, and then when we meet in Congress, this is where all the decisions are being made. So we are already a government in our own right. But at the end of the day, you know, all we want is peace. We don't want any more harm come to our people.
In both of your opinions, why is it important, do you feel, that our rangatahi understand the importance of He Wakaputanga and Te Tiriti or Waitangi?
It's the beauty of
Empowerment.
the Te kaupapa whakaaro, the He Wakaputanga, the core foundation document for the kura.
I have grandchildren living over there, and they had some type of march going on, and I was so surprised to see them in the march fighting for what they believe was right. I was very proud because it wasn't a nasty, abusive type of a march. It was a very peaceful one. But to actually see my grandchildren make a stand, and carrying the flag, it's just amazing. So, you know, all ups, all respect to all the generations that are coming through on behalf of their tūpuna.
Do you have any final whakaaro around the topic of He Wakaputanga?
For me, it's just simple. We need to do the do. No more talk. Time to do the do. I'm tired of because being 30 years is a long time, and not to see any infrastructure, as an outcome, although they're starting to look at it, but it's still too much talk and a lot of boasting about our tino rangatiratanga, but not actually making it happen in real time. Actioning influence, real influence for change.
Matua, in your opinion, how do you think we can achieve that?
Just by taking one step. And it's all it takes is one step forward together. We can't do it on our own as individuals. It has to be a concerted, planned action with an expected outcome. And to me, it's quite simple, really, to make that decision.
Mine is like believe in your inheritance that your tūpuna left you. That's what I say, and continue in that legacy that they left for us, and keep on standing up for your rights. Everything might be dwindling around us, but we're still here. We are the living evidence. We are the nostrils of today of our tūpuna. Because, I notice the younger generation are really taking in the knowledge quite fast and acting on it and wanting to participate. So it's really good. And those that are really literate, with computers and all this modern technology, they're the ones we really need, to help to carry on the structure. So, it's sad because we're losing all of our rangatira that we're giving out all that knowledge. And so, Reuben's been around for quite some time with all those rangatira.
Too long, but I guess I'll take into account going back to Uncle Marlon and then Nuki and them. They sort of prophesy that by 2040, the generation will bring that into reality.
We're not too far away from that.
No.
Kia ora. Well, on that note, ngā mihi nui ki a kōroa for you, mo tō whakaaro. It was beautiful and, real privilege and honour for me to be able to share that kōrero with you on this very important topic. And that's your wero whānau. You've heard it from our koioko matua here that, that's all. We need to be working together in kotahitanga and really taking this kaupapa forward. Yes. So thanks again, whānau, for tuning in. As always, you can watch us on YouTube, on Facebook or on Instagram. And if you have any feedback or whakaaro or anything you'd like to share, you can get in touch at kaiwhakahaere@whangaroapapahapū.org.nz. But thanks so much again, kōrero, and wishing everybody a beautiful day, and we'll see you for the next episode.
Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi.
Ngā mihi.
Kia ora.